Welcome to IE News Week in Review and welcome to our viewers logged on to our website www.ietvtt.com. I am Micah Dumé. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at the top stories that made the news headlines on Monday, 22nd June. Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara is defending the leadership and operational direction of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service amid ongoing public debate over policing effectiveness and reform. Speaking on the challenges facing the organization, Commissioner Guevara said the TTPS remains focused on integrity, accountability, and rooting out negative elements within its ranks. He stressed that leadership begins at the top and that officers are expected to uphold the highest professional standards. The commissioner also pointed to existing oversight mechanisms, including disciplinary units and independent bodies which are responsible for investigating allegations of misconduct and ensuring accountability within the service. Guevara acknowledged that staffing shortages continue to impact operations, noting that vacancies, leave arrangements, and increasing workloads have reduced the number of officers available for active duty at any given time. Despite those challenges, he said the TTPS remains committed to carrying out its mandate and protecting the public. Addressing concerns raised by critics, the commissioner said transparency remains a priority and noted that while the police service may not satisfy every member of the public, officers are obligated to enforce the law fairly and professionally. He emphasized that anyone who breaches the law can expect to be held accountable, adding that officers are expected to conduct themselves in a professional manner while carrying out their duties. Commissioner Guevara said the TTPS remains committed to strengthening public trust, improving accountability, and continuing efforts to reduce serious crimes across Trinidad and Tobago.
I am the leader of the organization, and it is for me to take decisions and operate in a particular way with integrity and everything else that comes with the office to ensure that that perception of the leader also filters down to the general members of the staff. And how do we go about this? We try to root out the negative elements within the society or within the police service itself. I know that we always have the detractors in the public sphere. We cannot please everyone by what we do and by the decisions that we make. But I just want to urge persons that there are things called laws in Trinidad and Tobago. And the TTPS is a law enforcement agency. And thus, if you breach the laws, you will be held accountable. My officers will try to do so in a very professional manner.
The organizer of the 19 Bullets, 19 protest campaign says while the movement's final demonstration has ended, the fight for accountability and justice is far from over. Alyssa Phillip reflected on the campaign's conclusion on Labor Day, describing the day as a reminder that citizens must continue speaking out against injustice and demanding change. Phillip encouraged young people to recognize the power of their voices, saying meaningful progress only happens when citizens unite around a common cause. Friday's demonstration marked the 19th and final protest of the campaign, which was launched following the fatal police shooting of Joshua Samaru and the wounding of his common-law wife, Kai Seeley, in St. Augustine on January 20th. Phillip thanked supporters who participated in the protests and helped amplify the movement's message, but stressed that the issues which inspired the campaign remain unresolved. She said the organized demonstrations may have come to an end, but citizens must continue advocating for accountability, justice, and positive change across Trinidad and Tobago.
Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, workers of Trinidad and Tobago, trade unionists, mothers and fathers, young people who still believe this nation can be better. Today, on Labor Day, I stand before you not merely as a protest organizer, not merely as an activist, but as a citizen who believes that justice is not a privilege reserved for the powerful. justice belongs to the people. Questions are not crimes. Demanding accountability is not extremism. Seeking truth is not an attack on the state. It is the duty of every citizen in a democracy. Every right we enjoy today was won because somebody refused to remain silent.
Trinidad and Tobago cricket star Kieron Pollard has made history, becoming the highest run scorer in T20 cricket after surpassing the long-standing record held by West Indies legend Chris Gayle. Pollard achieved the milestone while representing MI New York in the 2026 Major League Cricket season, producing a match-winning unbeaten century against Washington Freedom. The 39-year-old reached the record in trademark fashion, striking a six to move past Gayle's tally of 14,562 runs before finishing unbeaten on 100. By the end of his innings, Pollard had accumulated 14,582 career T20 runs. Widely regarded as one of the greatest all-rounders in the shortest format, Pollard built his record largely as a middle-order batter and finisher, earning a reputation for powerful hitting and consistent performances across franchise leagues around the world. Following the achievement, Pollard paid a tribute to Gayle, praising the former West Indies opener for his contribution to the growth and popularity of T20 cricket. The milestone marks another proud moment for Trinidad and Tobago as Pollard adds yet another record to a distinguished career spanning more than 2 decades.
From the freshness of the ocean, Rainbow has sealed in all the natural, healthy goodness in their canned tuna, sardines, and mackerel. So go ahead, enjoy some crispy sardines, stewed mackerel, or a creamy tuna salad. Because while your tummy enjoys the great taste, your heart and immunity will love the healthy omega-3s, calcium, protein, and more. Rainbow's canned tuna, sardines, and mackerel are 100% real fish, so it's tasty, healthy eating for your body, heart, and mind. Rainbow canned fish.
Tile Expressions Limited, as one of the largest importers of tiles, offers an extensive range of high-quality tiles in ceramic, porcelain, granite, stone, and mosaic options. Additionally, we offer a variety of tile accessories and bathroom sets to complement any decor style. We are committed to providing exceptional customer service and swift delivery of all products. From indoor and outdoor tiles to bathroom sets and tile accessories, we have curated a range that caters to both traditional and modern taste. Lampus 13, Ajudha Road, Munro Road, Canopio. Call 223-8453.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the top stories that made the news headlines on Tuesday, 23rd June. Tobago could soon become far more accessible to visitors from North America and the wider region as the Tobago House of Assembly moves ahead with plans to secure several new international air routes. Speaking with reporters following the presentation of the THA's draft estimates for the new fiscal year on Monday, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine revealed that discussions are at an advanced stage to establish direct flights linking Tobago with key international markets, including Toronto, Canada, Miami, Florida, and Guyana. Augustine described the initiative as part of a broader strategy to expand Tobago's tourism sector, increase visitor arrivals, and strengthen the island's connectivity with major source markets. According to the Chief Secretary, the THA has been actively engaging airline partners and industry stakeholders in an effort to improve airlift into Tobago, which has long been identified as one of the island's biggest challenges to tourism growth.
I can tell you, though, that the negotiations, and more than negotiations, where we're at is direct flights coming from Toronto to Tobago. So that should be onboarded soon. We also looking at ogling Guyana to Tobago. We are also looking at Miami direct to Tobago. So all of these additional direct flights with CAL, and then we are very advanced in some negotiations with some additional airlines for additional North American direct flights to Tobago. So what we are essentially doing is opening Tobago to the North American market. We recognize that when we look at tourism in the Caribbean, that North America makes up a substantial part of the source market, as opposed to the traditional UK and European market that Tobago has been stuck in for a very long time.
The government is deepening its security partnership with the United States as part of a major effort to combat crime, drug trafficking, and transnational crime networks. Here's more. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has revealed that elite United States Navy SEAL personnel are being deployed to Trinidad and Tobago to support ongoing national security operations and strengthen border protection efforts. Speaking with a news outlet, the Prime Minister disclosed that advanced members of the specialized military units are already on the ground in Trinidad and Tobago preparing for a wider deployment in the coming months. According to Mrs. Persad-Bissessar, the Navy SEAL teams will work alongside members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force and the Coast Guard, providing specialized training, operational support, and technical expertise in areas including maritime security, border surveillance, drug interdiction, and internal security operations. The Prime Minister said the partnership forms part of a broader strategy to disrupt criminal organizations and strengthen the country's ability to prevent illegal firearms, narcotics, and other contraband from entering its borders. She also announced that additional vessels from the United States are expected to arrive in Trinidad and Tobago in the near future, boosting the nation's maritime surveillance and enforcement capabilities. She noted that recent intelligence assessments indicate a reduction in the volume of narcotics entering Trinidad and Tobago from South America. However, she cautioned that drug trafficking remains a significant challenge, particularly along several coastal corridors that continue to be targeted by criminal organizations. The Prime Minister identified the stretch of coastline between Caroni and Marabella as one of the country's most vulnerable areas, citing concerns over illegal trafficking activities operating within coastal communities and mangrove regions. She maintained that border security has improved considerably over the past year, pointing to increased Coast Guard patrols, enhanced maritime monitoring, and the restoration of radar operations that had previously been out of service. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar also credited local law enforcement agencies for making significant progress in disrupting gang activity across the country, while acknowledging that challenges remain in areas such as petty crime, financial fraud, and domestic violence. The Prime Minister offered strong praise for Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara, awarding him with what she described as an A grade for his performance during his first year as head of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. She said the Commissioner has demonstrated strong leadership and has overseen several important initiatives aimed at improving public safety and reducing criminal activity. The Prime Minister further disclosed that United States intelligence agencies have been assisting Trinidad and Tobago authorities by identifying individuals and businesses allegedly linked to drug trafficking and money laundering operations. The Tobago House of Assembly is seeking more than $4 billion for fiscal 2026-2027 as it moves forward with plans to boost economic growth, strengthen infrastructure, and improve climate resilience. Here's more. Presenting the budget package under the theme Results-Based Governance, a Pathway to Prosperity, THA Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, Petal-Ann Roberts, said the Assembly is requesting approximately $4.12 billion, including $3.03 billion for recurrent expenditure and $1.09 billion for development programs. Among the major proposals is the creation of an Office of Mega Projects to oversee large-scale developments, while the biggest investment request, $431 million, has been earmarked for public infrastructure projects, including road upgrades, the Friendship Estate Development Project, and the Scarborough Redevelopment Project. The THA is also proposing a $140.7 million investment in agriculture through its Mega Farm project, with plans to increase local food production and fish harvesting by 10% next year. In addition, the Assembly is advancing climate resilience initiatives, including the installation of electric vehicle charging stations across the island and the gradual transition of the THA's fleet to hybrid and electric vehicles. Debate on the budget proposals is scheduled to continue on Thursday.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate-free, all-purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canoopia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Swaha Tulsi Manas Mandir of 102 Konapu Southern Main Road, Sanghi Grandi, cordially invites you and your family to 3 nights Gyan Yagya from the 27th of June to the 29th of June 2026 from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. daily. Officiating the Paramachar of Swaha, Pandit Haridev Prasad, spiritual leader Pandit Balram Prasad and Pandit Ishwar Madhu Maharaj, assisted by Pandit Chandradev Dubey and Pandit Tarun Maharaj. Live broadcast on IETV. Are you renewing your motor, homeowner or business insurances shortly? Then call Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, for a competitive quote. With 2 locations, Todd Street, El Socorro and 5 Rivers, Aruca. Please call us at 221-5051 or 227-5051. Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, building relationships exceeding expectations.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the top stories that made the news headlines on Wednesday, June 24th. The Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Nicholas Morris, is calling for stronger regional cooperation to address growing security, economic, and climate challenges facing the Americas. Speaking at the 56th General Assembly of the Organization of American States in Panama City, Morris said issues such as transnational crime, economic uncertainty, democratic pressures, and natural disasters require a coordinated international response. He praised the role of permanent observers to the OAS, describing them as key partners in supporting development, security, and governance initiatives through funding, technical assistance, training, and capacity building programs. The minister expressed Trinidad and Tobago's appreciation for their continued contributions and reaffirmed the country's commitment to strengthening partnerships aimed at promoting regional stability, resilience, and prosperity. Morris also highlighted record contributions to OAS programs and special funds in 2025 as a sign of growing international support for initiatives across the hemisphere.
From transnational organized crime and security threats to economic uncertainty, democratic pressures, and the growing impacts of natural disasters, the challenges confronting our hemisphere make it clear that no country can effectively address these issues in isolation. It is against this backdrop that Trinidad and Tobago conveys its deep appreciation for the invaluable contributions that permanent observers continue to make to the work of this organization and to the advancement of our region. Through voluntary financial contributions, technical cooperation, professional training, scholarships, capacity building initiatives, and the sharing of expertise and best practices, permanent observers have become indispensable partners in supporting the OAS efforts across its 4 pillars. The partnership between member states and permanent observers stands as a practical example of effective multilateralism in action. It demonstrates what can be achieved when countries and partners work together in pursuit of shared goals and common values. Trinidad and Tobago remains firmly committed to strengthening these partnerships and to working with permanent observers and fellow member states to advocate and advance a more secure, resilient, and prosperous hemisphere for present and future generations.
More than 90,000 public servants are being recognized for their contributions as Trinidad and Tobago observe United Nations Public Service Day and Public Service Week. Speaking at the Ministry of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence's career fair on Tuesday, Minister Dominic Smith praised public officers for their dedication and professionalism, noting that they play a vital role in areas including healthcare, education, national security, technology, and social services. The event featured more than 40 ministries, departments, and agencies and highlighted the range of services available to citizens. Representatives from the Tobago House of Assembly also participated, with officials recognizing the contributions of workers at every level of the public service, particularly daily paid employees, whose efforts often go unnoticed.
Public Service Day is an opportunity to reflect on the dedication, resilience, and professionalism of thousands of public officers who work tirelessly every day in service to our nation. I think the number is about 90,000 plus public servants that get up every day and hopefully come to work on time towards building a stronger nation. And this happens in healthcare, in education, national security, social services, infrastructure, finance, technology, administration.
The streets of Port of Spain came alive earlier today as the Port of Spain City Corporation hosted its annual City Day Parade, celebrating 112 years of service to the capital city. City Day is observed annually to commemorate the elevation of Port of Spain to city status and to recognize its role as a nation's political, commercial, and cultural hub. Officials said the celebrations also served as an opportunity to showcase civic pride, community spirit, and the contribution of those who continue to help shape and develop the capital city.
Introducing Signature Marine Coatings. We bring you premium marine solutions powered by PPG coatings, including anti-fouling protection, high-grade epoxy systems, fiberglass materials, and complete marine refinishing supplies. Protect, enhance, and maximize the performance of your vessel with products you can trust. Get the finish your vessel deserves. We are located at Tardy Marine Limited in Chagaramas. Call us today at 2900-654 or email at signaturepaints@hotmail.com.
Let's do India and Nepal, a soulful journey across timeless destinations. Delhi, Kathmandu, Varanasi, Ayodhya, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Agra, and Jaipur. August 12th to 28th. Presented by Pandit Omarat. Call 681-3476 to book now. Not just a trip, it's a spiritual and cultural experience.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the top stories that made the news headlines on Friday, 26th June. Trinidad and Tobago basketball star Malik Lewis has made history after being selected by the Milwaukee Bucks in the 2026 NBA draft. Here's more. Lewis was chosen with the 60th and final pick of the draft before his rights were acquired by the Bucks from the Washington Wizards in a 3-team trade. The 6'8" forward, who developed his game in Spain before competing in Australia's National Basketball League, becomes one of only a select group of NBL players to be drafted directly into the NBA. Known for his athleticism and defensive versatility, Lewis now takes the next step in his career as he prepares to join the Bucks organization and pursue his dream of playing at basketball's highest level. The achievement marks a proud moment for Trinidad and Tobago and adds another milestone to the country's growing sporting legacy on the international stage. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine says the Tobago House of Assembly remains focused on delivering projects that provide measurable benefits to residents as he defended the THA's record during the fiscal 2026-2027 budget debate. Augustine highlighted several initiatives undertaken over the past 4 years, including the Shaw Park tennis courts and pavilions, the Louis D'Or Agro processing facility, the Pala Touvier fishing depot, the Rise Land Housing Development and the Affordable Homes Program. He also revealed that the THA has paid more than $43.6 million in gratuities and created employment for over 3,000 people during that period. While pointing to those achievements, Augustine stressed that Tobago's long-term prosperity cannot depend solely on government jobs and called for greater investment in other sectors to build a stronger and more sustainable economy. He maintained that public spending must deliver tangible results, stating that every policy should have a purpose, every project a measurable impact, and every dollar spent must produce value for the people of Tobago.
Over 3,000 new employees over the last 4 years. Added to the THA payroll, over 3,000. This is new employment. This is contract, daily rated. Over the last 4 years, over 3,000. Now I know some somewhere are celebrated because that means employment, it means money in the bank, and all of those good things. But the side of me that did some economic studies will have to question whether this is sustainable. And the reality is that we have to build industries outside of the THA. So the THA is not the only go-to for employment. That a man or a woman must say, well, I could get paid more outside. And that's why we have to invest in the tourism sector. That's why we invested in fixing the airport. We have to invest in fixing rooms. We have to invest in fixing up Store Bay, that in the budget. We have to invest in fixing up Pigeon Point and No Man's Land and our beach houses and Blue Food Ground. We have to create avenues for entrepreneurship. We have to invite investors here to come and build boutique hotels because we have to create industries outside of the THA.
Let's now take a look at some international news.
This is the terrifying moment two massive back-to-back earthquakes struck Venezuela. The strongest to hit the country in a century. A magnitude 7.2 followed 39 seconds later by an even stronger 7.5. Buildings collapsing as panicked residents race for cover. Officials say at least 250 buildings have been damaged. This survivor saying it was like a horror movie. You can hear the fear from passengers on this plane on the tarmac in Caracas. Sections of the airport crumbling into a cloud of dust as travelers scramble to escape. Tonight there is a desperate race to find survivors underneath mountains of concrete and twisted metal. Rescuers pulling this woman from the debris. She says she held on to her door frame during the quake and watched her friend disappear. Venezuelan TV showing 3 children covered in dust pulled out alive from the rubble. At least 188 people have died and hundreds more are believed to be trapped. Earthquake experts warn the death toll could top 10,000 as families frantically search by flashlight for their loved ones. At least 25,000 are still unaccounted for. American tourist Jason Wang made it out alive. He was about to get into a cable car when the quake struck.
It started to shake, and then I felt the ground shaking a little bit, and then just mass panic. Like everyone was just bolting the door.
Tonight, so many in need. Patients evacuated from a damaged hospital lined up on the street.
There's absolutely going to be big aftershocks. You never get an earthquake this big without many aftershocks.
With its battered infrastructure, Venezuela was already facing a national crisis, making this emergency response even tougher for acting President Delcy Rodriguez. It comes just months after the U.S. raid removed President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. military and State Department now sending support. And international search teams are now on the way, including this team from LA County Fire Department. In Miami, volunteers with the Global Empowerment Mission are packing up relief supplies.
Less than 24 hours after President Trump declared that the deal with Iran was going well,
Iran is being very nice They're agreeing to everything that I want.
Today, U.S. officials tell ABC News Iran attacked a cargo ship attempting to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has imposed new conditions forbidding ships from traveling outside of its approved shipping lanes. Maritime security expert Martin Kelly posted audio of a warning he says the Iranian military is issuing to ships attempting to cross the strait.
If any vessel attempts to transit in the strait without our permission, it's responsible for any consequences of any danger.
Just this morning, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that if Iran interferes with shipping traffic, it would be a clear violation of the deal that President Trump signed last week.
If ships are moving as they should be moving, then that's what we're going to judge and that's what we're going to react to. If, on the other hand, this rhetoric is backed up by actual ships being threatened and ships are not moving, that's a violation of the agreement and we're going to have a problem with it.
Well, this is where we leave you for now. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Micah Dumais. Thank you for joining us.